In a previous video, I've explained how to enhance stiffness when it comes to lifting heavy things like in a deadlift or in a squat. And that's an incredibly important tenet that you have to have when you're trying to do anything athletic. You have to understand how to breathe into your diaphragm and create that extra abdominal bracing. However, let's say you're a golfer. You can't necessarily be expected to hold your breath through an entire movement, back and then forward, and only pulsing when you hit that ball and you're letting your air out on the way through. You have to be able to pulse your breathing the exact same way that we pulse our muscles, but you have to make sure that we can use those same tenets of diaphragmatic breathing to make sure that you have as much stiffness at impact with the ball as you might when you are going to lift something super heavy. So the way that I like to explain this is with the kettlebell swing. Understand really quickly that the kettlebell swing is incredibly advanced. Please don't go try to do this at home just because you're seeing it on this video. I will give you other exercises to be doing that will help you with this stiffness. But I think this is a really good visual that will line up with your golf swing to teach you how to use breath control and muscular stiffening at the right times to get the most power out of your ball and protect yourself from injury. The kettlebell swing forces a couple of really positive things. Number one, it forces you to keep good posture throughout the movement. So at no point are you just completely letting your spine go. You're maintaining that stiff and straight spine. But at the same time, it also gets you to relax in your ball and socket joints very, very quickly. So you'll notice during different points of the swing that I can't just have my muscles powered on and rigid the whole time, or I'm never going to get anywhere very quickly. Instead, I have to have very quick, explosive movements immediately followed by relaxation. This was an incredibly important skill for us to learn with boxing. You have to be able to let loose and stiffen at the exact same time. And I remember standing in front of my bag for hours where my coach was just trying me to learn how to be quick and said, just think, tense up, tense up, tense up, tense up, release everything, and then tense up again once you hit the bag so you don't break your hand. So in other words, we were there, pop! Okay? At no point was I trying to force my entire energy through that bag. I had to make sure that I was tense, let go, stiffen again. And that's something that happens really, really succinctly with the kettlebell swing. I'm tensing up at the bottom, twisting my body up and tuning it to make sure it's as tight as possible in that bottom position, exploding forward but immediately relaxing. And then at the top, poof, I stiffen again, which reverses that direction, and I come back down to the original starting position. Between those 2 points of stiffness, though, I'm fairly relaxed. Again, you'll never see my spine just drop up and down, but what you will see are my arms seeming like they're fairly relaxed. Now, my lats are packed and they're stabilized against my thorax, or at least they should be. But what's happening is my shoulders and my hips are allowing motion to take place, and I'm not sitting there just trying to resist everything that kettlebell wants to do. I'm taming it while not allowing it to move me around at all. I stay stiff and rigid, my core stays stable. The next step in boxing when we were learning to stiffen, force forward, relax, and then stiffen again was making sure that there was an audible pop with our actual voices when we made contact with the bag. That was to ensure that we had maximal stiffness when we made contact, that punch would hurt as much as it could. The reason this happens is because I'm not exhaling, I'm not going pop. The reason this happens is I'm not just letting all my breath out, I'm not just going pop, but instead I'm creating this quick little pop, this contraction in my abdominals that increases the stiffness in my core. It's almost like if you were holding onto a balloon and right at the point of contact, you had to try to blow it all up as quickly as you could. It's that, try to do that right now, just sitting there, and tell me that your abdominals don't get incredibly tense right away. That's really important for creating that proximal stiffness, that stiffness of your core, so that you can do something explosive so that all of the energy transmits from the torque created in your hips up to the end of your fist, because it went up through a very stable core and you didn't lose any of that energy or have energy leakages while you were creating that punch. This translates over to a golf swing very, very well. With a golf swing, remember, you're winding up, you're tensing. This is literally almost like wringing a towel, making your body tense up as much as you can, and then you explode through. Now, you're relaxing on your way down. If anybody's ever tried to swing a golf club as hard as they could all the way through the ball, you know what happens. It barely goes anywhere and it just sails off to the right or to the left. It never goes straight. So you're relaxing, but it's important to be able to pop, stiffen again once you make contact with that ball, for the exact same reason that you want dynamite at the end of your punches with that pop. So to do this at home, instead of doing a kettlebell swing, which is an incredibly advanced exercise that I highly recommend you learn how to do, but you can't do it by yourself, what I would suggest you do instead are a couple of drills that I'm going to sequence in after this video, which will work to create that core stiffness while you're moving your extremities around it to make sure that you, A, know how to turn on and off your muscles really quickly, and B, you can time your breath and your muscle activation at the appropriate times during some kind of athletic movement. So stick around, we're going to come back with a couple drills for you to follow along coming up next.